In 1991, the Cleveland Browns entrusted their future of their franchise to a young, dedicated, detail-oriented coach who was known to get up at 5, go to bed at 11, and slept in his office. What's so special about that? Well, my high school jazz band did that at Central Michigan University this weekend. Piece of cake. But seriously, Coach Belichick was setting the foundation, and then for what we all know today as the Patriot way, or what I like to call Bill and Bob's most excellent walk. However, this walk wasn't successful until Bob found Bill. Bill and Bob trusted one another, and they collectively agreed on the way forward. In Cleveland, Coach Belichick worked for an owner who felt that spending lavishly on star players was the quickest, most sustainable way to success. In 4 short years, the Browns had spent millions of dollars on players who were no longer on the team. Attendance collapsed. The Cleveland Browns moved to Baltimore, and Bill was fired. He wasn't fired because he didn't know the game of football. He was the son of a former NFL player and a college coach. At a young age, Belichick was a fluent singer-poet. What sets him apart from other coaches is that he understands the business and the economics of the game. And doing so, he's able to establish a system that will be successful no matter the financial situation. It wasn't until Bob came along that Belichick had an owner who understood what he was trying to do. And the Patriot way was born. Bob being the light, and Bill challenging the conventional way of thinking, the salt. Did you know that there is a Harvard MBA course that studies the Patriot way and reviews the Browns of the 90s as the wrong way to run a business, and the Patriots of the last 20 years as a great American business success story? True story. Can't make this stuff up. In today's scripture reading, Matthew writes about Jesus, saying, "You are the salt of the earth." Jesus doesn't say, "You will be the salt of the earth," or that you have within you the potential to become the salt of the earth. Jesus says, "You are the salt of the earth," indicating that the miracle of transformation has already begun. Think of salt in a shaker. It has little influence while waiting to come out. However, once it leaves the shaker and is mixed with other ingredients, that's when it can transform what it means. As people, we are less likely to transform if the world is sitting alone at home. Impactful, positive changes present themselves when we get out and rub elbows with one another. Just this past weekend, my high school jazz band played at the 47th Annual Central Michigan University Jazz Festival. Over 50 schools from across the state of Michigan participate, and every year, the festival features a guest artist. This year's artist was 3-time Grammy Award-winning drummer Terry Lynn Carrington. Terry Lynn was named Jazz Artist of the Year in 2019 by practically all jazz publications. And with me being a drummer myself, I was giddy to watch her perform and be inspired, being from one musician to another. Now, she's a fantastic drummer and very expressive through her music. But what inspired me most were her motives and her beliefs. Jazz, like many music genres, has been dominated by male artists, recognized giants such as Duke Ellington, Miles Davis, and Freddie Hubbard. Unfortunately, there are very few women employed in the field of jazz. Actually, there is a higher percentage of women as CEOs of Fortune 500 companies than there are women who play jazz music professionally. Although Terry Lynn was an established musician from her years of playing with Herbie Hancock and being the drummer on the Arsenio Hall show, she had to self-fund her recordings because she couldn't find sufficient label support. Instead of giving up, becoming complacent, and letting her salt become tasteless, in 2011, she released The Mosaic Project, a landmark recording featuring a cast of all-female musicians, which won a Grammy for Best Jazz Vocal Album, and the first of 3 wins in various categories. Now motivated by her success in shaking the status quo, she sketched a concept where predominantly female faculty, staff, and student body will work together to advance a practice of jazz without patriarchy. After successfully launching as director of the Institute of Jazz and Gender Justice at the Berklee College of Music, Terry Lynn is continuing to focus on being salty by tearing down walls of inequities in the jazz scene. Now, out of the shaker, this past year, Jazz Note has recognized her as the most influential jazz artist on the planet, as she is using her music as a platform to speak out against racial prejudice, sexual harassment, and gender-based inequities. Recognized for her efforts, she was recently named a member of the Grammys Board of Trustees. Later in our scripture reading, Jesus challenges us to light up the world. He says, "Go and make disciples of all nations." Not all of us will have the opportunity to go to a foreign country and do God's work, but there are plenty of opportunities in our local communities, many of which Grosse Pointe Memorial Church participates in today. Good works are in keeping with the principle of Christian love. If we love one another, our love can be manifested in acts of mercy. Mother Teresa is a classic example of someone who devoted themselves to the service of others. But every community has its saints who devote themselves quietly and powerfully to serve those in need. 4 years ago, a 10-year-old in Oxford came home crying after school. His mother asked him why he was crying. And being the winter time, he said that he was sad that there were kids in school without hats, gloves, and scarves to keep them warm while playing outside at recess, and that he wanted to do something about it. That night, he and his mom bought a few items of winter clothing and set up a box inside the school office, and that any kid could take items from the box. No questions asked. That single box started the charity Scarves for Cozy Kids, which services dozens of elementary schools throughout Metro Detroit by applying the same principles. A box will be available in the school office for any child to take items to keep warm. No questions asked. On Thursday nights, a sewing booth from a local church is supplied with donating yarn and fabric to knit additional items for the following week. The charity now supports the Ronald McDonald House, animal rescue shelters, and is even putting winter clothes boxes in local police stations. First delivery was made to my hometown in Sterling Heights this past year. Now, 14 years old, Alex Van Haren is being recognized in 2020 for being God's sweet light as the state of Michigan's recipient of the Prudential Spirit of Community Award. Alex demonstrates that the youth of our world can be beacons of light in our local communities, bringing about positive, impactful, seismic change, no matter how small the idea may have seemed to begin with. And just this past month, I was blessed by being accepted in the school I have been dreaming about since I was 5 years old, Michigan State University. My dad's a Spartan. One of my uncles is Spartan. My dad's brother works at Michigan State. His wife, a Spartan. And I have two cousins who currently attend Spartan. Honestly, was there really another choice? As a future Spartan, I've been indoctrinated into the mantra, Spartans will. It's not just what we do, but how and why we do it that distinguishes us as Spartans. As Spartans, we have the heart, the talent, and the tenacity to make an extraordinary impact on the lives of others. In order to be truly successful, we need to be a little salty, challenging and improving upon the status quo. And once established, be the sweetness of light. Those around us can follow and count on. I think Terry Lynn and Alex would make great honorary Spartans. No offense, Wolverine faithful. I see your win from yesterday. Nice job, but our tagline's better. Just saying. As witnessed through these stories of inspiration, Jesus' ideas of walking the walk are being exemplified by once ordinary people who are motivated to do something. Jesus' objective in today's scripture was to inspire us by teaching so that we can perform extraordinary acts by being a shining light and by being a touch salty. Doing so helps us strive to continue our walk. Circumstances might motivate us to do more and change our path. But we need to realize that even what we may see as something providing a small impact in our communities might spread seismically to create movements so the good of Christ can spread through the greater